This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about somebody who is going to be missed. Brian Gerwitz. Meltzer would write that Brian, who'd been with the company for about 15 years, gave notice a few weeks back and said his goodbyes on the June 29th Raw show from Washington, D.C. Brian was a writer for the show and for years was the head writer on Raw. He'd remained with the creative team until October of 12 when Eric Pankowski, who was the head of creative at the time, sent him home. He'd remained under contract as a consultant, working from home and sometimes being sent scripts, and was also a consultant on the network. He came to the office about once every other week, and much of the current crew barely knew him, as the past few years, the only time he was around was on weeks where Dwayne Johnson was on TV. He'd been used in creative whenever The Rock would be around, since Rock specifically requested him to be his writer, and he had been Johnson's main writer during the last few years of his full-time career. He left WWE for an executive role in $7 Entertainment, which is Johnson and his ex-wife Danny Garcia's production company. Brian is a guy who is responsible for a lot of the magic behind the scenes over the years, Arn, and here it's officially done. How badly do you think the company missed him as a full-time contributor between 12 and now?
Well, I'll tell you the difference to his credit. And there were some things that would be written by every writer, from him to Ed Koskey to, you name it. Everybody's been in that seat, that I disagreed with at some point, and I had no problem voicing that, because I would always tell them, I don't, really agree with this, and here's why. It was never, hey, this sucks. Okay, what would you do? Well, I don't have the answer. I never had one of those scenarios. But Brian, was a pretty solid writer. He had an idea for the show, and in those days, which was better for everyone intended, he would write a show. We would get to TV, we would read through the show, and there wouldn't be, let's spend 2 hours picking it apart and come up with alternative ideas. We pretty much just used that as our template, and we tried to, from a wrestling perspective, put those ideas into place. And it made everyone have a much easier job, instead of just changing and rechanging, and what it evolved to and is now, changing at the last minute, rewriting the show 5 times, on Monday afternoon while you're waiting to see what you got and before you can go to work, and just all those headaches. When Brian was writing the show, we pretty much stuck with what he had written and went with it. And it just made for a calmer, more stable environment.
Well, he's missed. He wrote some great segments, and he's a really nice guy in person. If you ever have a chance to meet him, he joined Bruce and I on stage for a few live versions of Something to Wrestle, and he just stole the show every time. He's just got great stories and incredible wit. And I'm glad that he's doing well now and making some probably some serious coin, a lot more than $7 with $7 Entertainment. Let's talk.
Yeah. By the way, you want to come to work for me? I'm The Rock. Be my personal writer. That don't suck either.
He's doing just fine.
Yes.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.